This has been taken where we want to have peace in Ukraine, in Gaza, in Sudan, and in the rest of other countries that are now having problems, either fighting each other as countries or fighting each other as members of the same country. I appreciate very much that the international community is always assisting, supporting South Sudan to mark this day. Without their support, I believe it would be very difficult for the Ministry of Peace Building to organize this occasion. So I want to register my appreciation for this support. And I would also call upon them to continue supporting us so that we can always mark this day. 9 days ago, the 12th of September, was the day when we signed the peace agreement that we are implementing today. It is now 6 years, or 6 years, since we signed that agreement. We are still struggling to complete its implementation. There have been statements that we have signed, we have extended the life of government. Which is true. We did that a week ago, and finally, yesterday, this was endorsed and ratified by our legislative body, the revitalized Transitional National Legislative Assembly. There may be misgivings why we extended the period. But let me make some few points over this. Tomorrow, if the peace agreement was fully implemented, tomorrow government should have been or would have been dissolved by tomorrow. That is 22nd of September. So that the whole country can prepare for elections. We don't want the country to go for elections. But we want to see elections that is peaceful, above all peaceful, transparent, free, fair, and inclusive. When we evaluated, we found that this is not going to be possible. We started dialogue a very long time, that since March, we started to discuss this matter. Whether the country would be ready to go for elections by 22nd December 2024. Some of us felt this may not be possible. And the reasons are very clear. we have not completed unification of forces. We still have a bulk of forces not unified. So it would be very, very difficult to describe an election where we have multiple forces to be free, fair, and peaceful. Imagine tomorrow if the government was dissolved. We are complaining that the civil servants have not been paid for the last 9 months. This is also the soldiers. There are also soldiers that have not been paid since 2018. They watch their colleagues being paid, and if we were to have no government tomorrow, then they would say, well, the country has returned back to violence. So we saw that unification of forces as a very critical prerequisite for the country to conduct elections. Thank you. Well, that is the first most important prerequisite. Because the other prerequisites we could play around. One, we still have refugees from our neighboring countries. In Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Central Africa, DRC, and the rest we have gone to the other part of the world. One of the reasons that these refugees hesitate to come back is because we have not completed unification of forces. So they are concerned about their security. And even those who are in Sudan, Sudan is fighting itself viciously, despite that we have a big number of refugees, even in the capital, Khartoum, Omdurman, Khartoum, Khartoum. They are not moving. I hope, and I want to call upon you, that this is the final extension. They should come back. And I hope the UN system would help us repatriate these refugees. They're important because there will be census. We do not want to get into debates over which state has the bigger population. We want them to come so that they participate in the census. And unfortunately, your law tied down the demarcation of constituencies with the population census. So it will be very difficult to say this state has this number of geographical constituencies, this state should have this proportion of in the home list or in the party list. So we really want to double our efforts to see that the refugees come back. And the international community takes it up also as part of its support to the elections. We see this as an important prerequisite. We also want to go to elections after we have determined what our governance system is. South Sudan since 1947 have been calling for a federal system of governance. We yet have to conduct the conference on federalism. We don't want to delay this, because if we delay it and we go for elections and this method is not embodied in the Constitution, you will still have difficulties. You know, there are groups who held out and they took federalism as an issue on which they would want to continue political violence. We do not want to give such groups an excuse to continue violence in this country. Therefore, we would want assistance so that we finalize this before we get to the elections. Most importantly, the agreement says we must have a permanent constitution. Since last November, the body that should lead us in this process has been established. But yet they have problems. They need support. I also call on the international community support this body so that they can do their work in the time they have determined. It is among the mechanisms that have been interviewed by the high-level committee in this body, the constitutional making body. They need the longest time. But without support, they might disappoint us. So I hope our partners will support this body so that they can do their work in the shortest possible time they have specified. Now, having underlined this, so I said it would be possible to say, let's amend the transitional constitution. Yes, you can amend it and direct yourself and say, let's delay the constitution. Let's delay the federalism. Let's delay census. But you can't delay unification process, because you need to secure the ballot box. If you give this election security to multi-forces, you will not have a free, transparent, fair, peaceful election at all. So these are the reasons why we decided it's best to extend the period for 24 months. Right, Honorable Khan said, it's not for being in power. This is true. Many of us would want to see that people of South Sudan elect their leaders. But in an environment which is conducive for them to exercise their right. If we find them into an election which is not conducive, in the end we will be blamed for this, because we know our people. Having stated that, I would like to respond to some of the issues that have been raised by some of the speakers. One, political space sharing, or civic space, you say, sharing, civic and political space sharing. You know, many of us are in the same line as you, whether it's Lakani or His Excellency, the Ambassador representing the Troika. In the executive, we had recommended that some sections of the law be scrapped, particularly 54, 55, 57, and even 13, sub-article 15. It went to Parliament, but then Parliament decided the way they decided, that these articles or these sections would be kept. Now there's become a problem. There's an outcry about it. I believe we'll again appeal to Parliament to do what we had recommended in government. Because in government we pass a resolution to scrap these sections with the resolution. Since we'll have to dialogue with them in Parliament, why they thought these sections should be kept. But then now the blame comes to us in the executive, when it should be. Because we had already recommended that these sections be scrapped. I am a believer that without civic and political space, it would be difficult to say we have gone or we have conducted democratic, free, fair elections. It would be difficult. So we are conscious about that. The the bills on transitional justice, we're happy that the Parliament has passed them. What remains is for these institutions to be established. But yet there is one institution which between us and the EU Commission, we need to dialogue on, which is the High Court. According to this agreement, it says the EU Commission will provide guidelines on which legislation will be done by government. I have not seen the guidelines. And in my meetings with the ambassador of the EU, we kept talking about it. So when those when those guidelines are provided to the government, I believe the government will initiate the legislation. Intercommunal violence. It's one of the issues that we have been thinking about. If we do not have unified forces, military, police, and the rest, it is difficult to disarm. Although many communities are now beginning to realize that it is not worth it to arm their youth, because the youth have turned these arms against themselves. And I'm happy that the role of youth has been mentioned in this forum. I hope the youth now, with the government together, can work to persuade the armed youth to disarm. There is a public order issued by the President on disarmament, but it is still difficult. We need to sensitize our youth in the countryside on the importance of ensuring that peace prevails in their own communities. Yes, I can see the difficulty somewhere. As long as we have not yet completed unification of forces that will secure them. Some of you say, well, if they disarm, what about the youth in community acts? Will they not harm them? But I believe with unification of forces and deployment of forces all over the country, the youth will have no reason to arm themselves and cause harm to themselves. So I'm hoping, and I call upon the youth to join us in the dissemination of peace, not only in the urban centers, but also in the rural areas. We need to help them understand that arming themselves is not good for the whole community and for the whole country. I'm happy that women are also participating in the peace determination. The last statistics I have seen say women is 54%. I hope and I call upon them that don't leave this dissemination to men only. Get involved in it because the most vulnerable population is always the women population. So your participation in it, in disseminating peace, and in also disseminating about this armament of youth is important. The 10 questions which the UN provided, I think some of these questions have been answered in the course of our dialogue with the UN, in the course of our own dialogue among ourselves, but I cannot tell you that exhaustively these questions have been fully answered. But for us to get to elections, definitely with the time before us, the 10 questions will be answered. Somehow we are trying to dialogue with both parties, the army, rapid support forces, to protect vital installations, the pipeline, the refineries, because we used to get fuel also from the refinery in Khartoum. We are dialoguing. We hope we will reach an agreement over that. And to a point that we felt if the peace talks are being held in jeopardy, we should be participants so that we persuade them to respect vital economic installations, not only the pipeline. The dams are there, some of the dams are now. The status of say dams are not, there is no clear knowledge. Some will bust during this war if they are not being looked after. We do that because what affects Sudan affects us here in South Sudan. Now I want to come back to the implementation of this agreement, and particularly the international community. I know from the statements made by partners during the Al-Day that they continue to support the Khamenei initiative. We have not been against the Khamenei initiative. We have been saying the Khamenei initiative should be aligned with our axis. Because the main document that has brought peace and relative stability in this country is our axis. Yes, the other axis has difficulties in implementation, and particularly in funding. I hope now that we have extended the life of the RRCs for 2 years, in addition to the remaining 5 months, I hope the international community will reconsider their position, particularly in support of the implementation of the RRCs. The Khomeini is not a standalone agreement. All the protocols which they have initial and the ones waiting the initial are based on the R-axis. So since the R-axis has been extended for this period of months, it would be good that we join effort together, particularly in funding. If the international community is not confident of our structures, particularly financial institutions, we suggest that you create your own multi-donor peace fund and you choose which of the prerequisites that you want to support. And I'm confident that our high-level committee will dialogue with you, and we hope we reach an agreement with you so that we can continue supporting the peace agreement and the peace process in South Sudan. As for the parties that have participated in the Khomeini initiative, we have made 2 resolutions in the Council of Ministers to continue dialogue with them. And time will come when this process will be, when our group will, when the government will contact them, so that, because we want them in the peace, we want them to join the peace process. We want them to contribute in the process, because come elections, we would want to see there are no groups that would say they have not been included. We want to have inclusive elections. And in this, we are determined that we continue the dialogue with those who participated in the Khomeini. And by the way, when we initiated the Rome talks were initiated because most of them, they were part of the R-axis, but then at the last minute of signing the agreement, they did not sign. Now, with time going, they have proven that, and also with the Khomeini consensus, they have proven that there's nothing wrong in the R-axis. The R-axis is a good document, and in this, since they have proven that, we will continue dialoguing with them to the point that we hope they will accept to join the peace process and also be participants in the next coming elections coming December 2026. So we would also want support of the international community in this, since I believe the interest is to see that all of us join the peace process and contribute to the constitutional making process in the country. Finally, I want to thank the Ministry of this building. This is a very important event. We should see how, but I think we have now integrated it with our own peace, the International Peace Day. There's nothing wrong with moving our Peace Day also to this 21st of September. So we congratulate you for being very active with your partners, and we also congratulate our communities that have come. We when we see them dancing here and showing off their cultural dances, making it, particularly during a peace day like this. And I hope they will also create peace dances in their own places. I'm happy to learn from Central Equatoria that he is also doing a marking this day. And I hope that the 10 states are also marking this day, and the counties should also mark this day because of its importance. If we did mark all over the country this day, the peace message, the peace culture will be understood by our civil population, and particularly among the youth. Particularly among the youth, because the youth should be our target, so that they understand the principles of peace. I hope also you have distributed them this book, the peace agreement, when they have come, when they are in the hall, so that when they go back, they will help to disseminate it. Because we are about 500 people going with this white book and disseminating it, particularly the South Sudanese. I think the message shall go. I say this because this morning I was listening to a debate between political leaders in government. And the questions that is thanks to Mariah. Those who interacted with them, I believe they don't need to disagree. Because the questions they were asking, even one was a professor mentioned, the questions they were asking came from ignorance of what the peace agreement means. Ignorance of why it is important that unification of forces is a very important prerequisite for conduct of elections, so that people can vote freely. Of why it is important to have a permanent constitution. We do not want, some of you, most of you, South Sudanese are young, you may not know that the split of Sudan happened because of constitutional crisis. In 1957, South Sudan was promised that a federal system of governance would be applied and a federal constitution at the same time. When that was not honored, we fought until we achieved this independence. So some may not know the importance of a permanent constitution. So if we have the chance to have a permanent constitution, our country will be quiet, because everyone will return and respect that permanent constitution. It's the basis of our unity, the basis of our governance. So I hope we distribute more of this document to people, so that they know what is this peace agreement. It's not an instrument for people to keep themselves in power. It is an instrument for sustainable peace and stabilizing the country. So I thank you very much, all those who have participated, whether as dancers or as listeners or the international community, for turning up to attend this day. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, First Vice President, allow me to take this opportunity today to call spade is a spade and not cover. And it's a moment we to express ourselves. As you see, the slogan on my head, peace is a right, it's not a privilege. Unfortunately, we have seen our political leaders and their various political establishments tend to treat peace for us as a privilege. As we see this slogan say, naturally a call for peace, it is our collective responsibility. I wish all the parties that are signatory to our presence here, unfortunately, as if this is only your aspect, Your Excellency, First Vice President. Every international peace day, some are missing and some are present. Today, I would like to take this opportunity to challenge all of us that this spade is respect. Peace is not responsibility for politicians to use it and keep us suffer in this economical crisis that we are in. The dragging of peace that we couldn't achieve, it has made us to go for 10 months without salary as civil servants. But we've never seen any behavior of any politician packed because there's no money for doing it. What is that? That's the question the child is asking for the streets. We can see your bodyguards are more healthier than our soldiers in the bush, whom deadly mosquito is eating them. What is that? Is that the peace we're talking about? You have the responsibility, as you have taken as our leaders, to make peace prevail. My message to Excellency First Vice President, without power, we are aware that you as a political leaders at your various capacities, you have high deficit in trust and confidence for working together to make peace prevail in this country. Allow me to drop my message. We are not suffering because peace requires billions of dollars. We are suffering because peace needs our leaders to say enough is enough to violence. That's the need one SSP. That's the problem. We cannot spend millions of dollars to buy peace. Why are they spending millions of dollars to fight, to buy bullets, to buy guns, but not millions of dollars to bring peace? Your Excellency, First Vice President, we are tired. Yesterday, we have seen the marathon of the extension of the transitional period of the parliament. A requirement of 1 month is being done in 4 hours. I was present in the parliament, the gala. Whatever the politicians say, endorse, pass. Why is it very difficult to pass a budget to deliver the agreement for the last 6 years? Why? Why is it a problem to use money to make a democratized peace agreement, make peace and stability prevail? You have extended for 2 years more. Our belief is that as long as what we have seen in the last 6 years prevail, these 2 years will end again, will come and beg us. For the sake of peace, we need further extension. No more extension. We will take legal steps to sanction no more extension. Even if that means our lives will be taken, we will die wherever you want to kill us. We are ready to pay for that cost as long as we peace is coming. We see leaders during our days of the struggle used to pronounce democracy and transparency as the objective while we're in the bush. Today we have the power, we have the order. Why are we corrupt? Why are we violent? What is the value of the lives we have lost? The 4 million. Do we lose them for you to keep us as refugees? Do we lose them for you to keep us as IDPs? No, that must end now, not tomorrow. To conclude, I have the following ask Your Excellency, First Vice President. And I wish that as we are naturally culture for peace, I wish to hear an answer here, not anywhere. As you're going to address us, answer the following questions, Your Excellency, First Vice President. The first that I'd like to raise: how comes the financing of the revitalized peace agreement is not directly from means of finance the mechanism. Why some people sit in the middle to take financial decisions and dictate how our tax should be channeled to the mechanism to make peace prevail? Why are we failing? I'm a part of the peace agreement. I'm part of the mechanism. I see where Honorable Minister of Interior said the SRP board. We have to follow some individuals who become a godfather to approve money. But if one of the politicians die, easy to use millions of SSP for their funerals, but not for the peace. And we are there anti-peace, we are there with peace. Why? We need an answer. Why are we not financing the mechanism directly from means of finance to the mechanism? Why the money have to go through that channel? And my belief, if that system of financing continue, then 24 months of the 2 years will end again. Further extension is needed because we have seen people tell us there's no money, but we have seen there's a money. That is my first ask. My second ask, Your Excellency, First Vice President. Why are we shrinking the civic space? If we need not a culture of peace, we need to have a spirit of dialogue. Why, when some of us are opening their mouth, questioning our leaders, as a civic responsibility, given to us by the Constitution, we find ourselves, we are locked in. Who are those South Sudanese who have the power to lock us in and think that they will stay forever for South Sudan? One day, one time, we will find ourselves in the heaven, as the books say, is one day we have the judgment in the heaven. We will ask them, did we give you the rights for you to establish legislation that you want to torture with us? And you tell us that we are your people, we are your leaders. I need an answer for that. Why is the civic space been tricked? My other question, Excellency First Vice President, I'm aware that we saved our parliament. Honorable Deputy Speaker, you are here, we're proud of the parliament, that at least the transitional justice legislation are now passed. We are building before we go for Christmas. Can that be a gift by the Secretary of the President, signing the transitional legislation, the TJ, the transitional justice legislation, so that we can start nurturing out of peace? We can't nurture out of peace where we don't have legislations. My other appeal to Your Excellency concludes. We have the NGO being in the parliament. Deputy Speaker, I know there's some honorables here. Allow me to just conclude. When you get this chance, you don't need politicians' chance because all of us are politicians. Your Excellency, First Vice President and Deputy Speaker, the NGO Act is going to go to the parliament. Our fear is that we have some people who have our former masters' behaviors. The Sudan we walk out for, where politicians right now in the parliament who behave like them. They want to impose legislations that make us the slaves of their personal interests, rather than the best interests of the country. Let this NGO Act observe democratic principles where we operate without any restrictions that make us to either decide to live through by go to the bush. It doesn't need any license for us to leave this home and go to the bush and call the people, and I'll call myself Commander-in-Chief Edmund Akane. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of a dialogue. Let's talk. Gun is not the option for solutions, but if we talk, we can resolve ourselves. Finally, Your Excellency, First Vice President, September marks a very important day for us. On the 12th is the day of the access. Today is the International Peace Day. I would like to take this opportunity, Your Excellency, with due respect and honor, to urge Angela Cluster, can we declare a 10 days for peace, where we commemorate 12th September and we end up on 21st September, because 12th is our day of our access and today is International Peace Day. And we have more extra 2 years. My final appeal, and next International Peace Day, for us to come here and attend, I like to sanction it as a citizen. It's my civic responsibility. We need to see Your Excellency, First Vice President, His Excellency President, the other excellent Vice President and the speakers. In the next year, Peace Day, we need to speak them all here. Because how collectively we are when we see something. I won't go political. We can see people is here. We can see Take a Cook is here. We can see Obi is here. Where is Warrior? I wish Warriors would have been the home here. I'm honest, I'm sincere, I'm a South Sudanese. If my message depends you, please go and pray to God. But as long as I'm delivering for the sake of peace and stability, God will keep this country peaceful one day under a better system that we all belong. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a representative of the civil society organization, Executive Director of Community Empowerment